hopped on the motorcycle, ready to head home, but suddenly a man plopped down behind him. Before Karim could say something, the man quickly gave an address, urging him to hurry. Though Karim was confused, he eventually dropped the man off at the right place. When asked about the fare, Karim, mistaken for a motorcycle taxi driver, unsure of the rates, simply let the man pay whatever he thought was fair. Tasting success, Karim decided to give it another shot. Later, he arrived at a spot where motorcycle taxis picked up passengers, but each business had its own rules. Other drivers shooed him away, but luck seemed to be on his side. Midway through, traffic stalled, and an impatient construction site boss caught up with him. Upon reaching the site, the boss asked Karim to wait while he fetched money. During this time, Karim noticed an old antenna on the site, and since his own was broken, he asked if he could take it. The workers allowed him, mentioning things there were free for the taking. As the boss returned with money, Karim, still unsure of the fare rates, simply let him pay whatever he thought was fair. To his surprise, the boss handed him 2 large bills. Karim, realizing he had likely been overpaid, rushed to return the excess, only to find the boss had already left in a car. Carrying the antenna, he headed home, impulsively buying 2 pounds of green dates on the way. Unfortunately, the bumpy ride caused the bag to tear, spilling the dates like mischievous elves into a stream. Further misfortune awaited as he reached the village entrance, where children gathered by a canal. They believed there were fish in the foul water. In their search, Karim's daughter's hearing aid accidentally fell in. Karim, frustrated, scolded them how fish could be in such a muddy pit and continued searching the hearing aid with the children. One child suggested they could clean the pool to raise goldfish for profit, to which Karim scoffed at the impracticality. After a strenuous search, they found the hearing aid, and Karim's daughter, after cleaning it, claimed she could hear. But Karim knew she lied to protect her brother. He came after his son. However, the mother stopped him. Rushing to the hospital, Karim learned the hearing aid couldn't be fixed, leaving him despondent as buying a new one was expensive and beyond his means. The first one was obtained with state aid. To purchase a new one, he considered asking his boss for an advance. Coincidentally, when the boss needed to relocate an ostrich, Karim supervised the workers in the transfer, but a mishap led to one ostrich escaping, jeopardizing Karim's job and potentially costing him a hefty sum. Frantically searching with a net on his motorcycle, Karim found only feathers and a cracked ostrich egg. Suddenly, an ostrich appeared on the horizon, but when it got closer, it turned out to be Karim in disguise, attempting to lure the ostrich back. Exhausted and desperate in the scorching sun, Karim failed to recapture the ostrich. Luckily, the boss didn't demand compensation but dismissed Karim, sending him home. Despite losing his job, Karim found solace in becoming a motorcycle taxi driver. That evening, he and his family cleaned up his old motorcycle, which had now become a hope for the entire family. The next day, Karim embarked on a new journey. Initially, the new job was smooth, but he encountered some unruly customers who refused to pay. When Karim asked for the money, they threatened to report him to the police because Karim didn't have a driver's license, leaving Karim no choice but to give up asking for the money. Since tasting success at the construction site, Karim would collect treasures on his way home every day. Passing by the underground water cistern again one day, he saw a group of children busy there. He hurried over to shoo them away. Back home, his son mentioned they wanted to raise goldfish in that underground water cistern, but Karim thought they were just daydreaming. Karim handed over the money he earned each day to his wife for safekeeping. At this rate, they would soon be able to buy a new hearing aid. Confident and motivated, Karim was full of vigor. However, upon returning home one day, he found the treasures he had collected in disarray, rummaged through by his son. The son explained they wanted to install a window frame for the underground water cistern. Upon counting, Karim discovered the blue wooden door was missing instead. Learning his wife had given it away, he hurriedly set off to retrieve it. Without hesitation, he took the door from the relative's house, leaving the relative speechless as he stormed out. Feeling ashamed of her husband's selfishness, his wife refused to talk to him, but Karim explained that a bit of self-interest sometimes propels one further. He then sang to cheer up his wife, who had no choice but to forgive him. The next day, Karim obtained fake driver's license to join a transport team. Their task was to deliver electrical appliances, and Karim had to follow the convoy because he didn't know the destination. However, his motorcycle broke down midway, and by the time it restarted, the convoy had left. After fruitless searching, Karim returned home with the refrigerator. The children excitedly circled around the refrigerator, thinking they finally had a place for ice cream, but Karim knew it wasn't theirs. The following day, while carrying the refrigerator in search of the delivery point, a person offered to buy it at a high price. For a moment, a scale appeared in Karim's mind, but his conscience prevailed. He left, but after a day of searching in town, the sinister thought resurfaced. Attempting to convince himself the refrigerator was found at the construction site, Karim struggled internally. However, as he approached an appliance store, torn between choices, he spotted a truck of ostriches nearby, their bewildered eyes mirroring his own. Karim realized that without a conscience, a person was no different from livestock. Ultimately, he returned the refrigerator to the transport team, where the boss not only didn't fire him but commended his honesty, rewarding him with a bonus for integrity, and he could continue working at the company. Upon returning to the village, Karim found his son and friends selling flowers by the roadside. Fueled by futile thoughts, he believed it was a great insult for a man's children to earn money. Infuriated, he smashed their little stall, leaving the children standing in the dusty wind, their confused expressions indiscernible. Upon learning they were still saving for goldfish, Karim grabbed a pickaxe and headed for the underground water cistern. However, upon reaching the cistern, he was stunned to find it transformed from a dirty and foul-smelling ditch to a clean, sparrow-chirping oasis. In the corner lay a new bird's nest, with the cleaned mud piled outside, imprinted with hand and footprints from the children's tireless efforts. Karim stood there in awe for a long time before returning home. Instead of scolding his son as usual, Karim silently helped his son tidy up the clutter. Suddenly, the clutter collapsed, his wife and son to rush in anxiously. Thankfully, Karim escaped life-threatening injuries but sustained head trauma and had his leg put in a cast, forcing him to rest in bed. Unable to work, he relied on his wife to sell the clutter to make ends meet. His daughter helped apply ointment to his wounds. Watching his family, Karim felt regret and self-blame, tears of remorse trickling down his worn cheeks. Since Karim's injury, neighbors and relatives often came to help them. Watching everyone bustling under the sunlight, Karim's heart was filled with mixed emotions. At night, his daughter painted on his cast while his son nestled close, drifting off to sleep. Karim bent down to touch his son's small hand and suddenly noticed calluses on it. The son he once looked down upon had become a pillar of the family. Every day, the son went to help others with different works, earning money. He partially handed some to his mother and saved some to buy goldfish. His mother advised him not to overwork, mentioning she also earned money by sewing for others, setting aside some for him to buy goldfish. Karim regretted his past treatment of the children. One day, his son accompanied Karim to the hospital, stopping at a juice stall on the way. He bought the cheapest orange juice and handed it to his father, explaining he didn't like orange juice. However, Karim knew his son thought 2 boxes were too expensive, so after taking a sip, he passed the rest to his son. Soon after, the children finally bought the goldfish. They sang amidst the flowers, discussing their plans to go to the cistern after finishing the delivery. Suddenly, Karim's son noticed a small hole in the bucket holding the fish. In a frantic attempt to save the goldfish, they discarded the flower pots, shouting and throwing things out without regard. Despite Karim's desperate shouts, he couldn't get out of the vehicle. The children eventually rescued the bucket, collaborating to carry it towards the cistern. However, in their haste, they tripped and a large bucket of goldfish spilled onto the ground. The fish shimmered like broken hope. Helpless, the children sat there, but after a moment of struggle, they made a unanimous decision. With tender hands, they gently pushed the goldfish into the nearby water channel, choosing kindness to let all the fish live. In the end, they kept only the largest goldfish, sitting in silence. Seeing their dejected faces, Karim sang them a song in an attempt to uplift their spirits. The fields had already sprung to life, and the children rallied, their voices echoing across the land. Upon returning home, the children ran to the cistern, releasing the sole remaining goldfish. At that moment, it wasn't just a small pool but their dreamland. One day, Karim woke from sleep to find a sparrow fluttering around the room, chirping and crashing into things. Karim shifted to open the door for the sparrow, which flew outside. Karim felt a strange sense of contentment. Just then, the voice of the ostrich farm boss came from outside, bringing Karim good news. The ostrich that had escaped had returned, and he could come back to work. Karim could hardly believe it, feeling like he was in a dream. As he healed and prepared to return to the ranch, Nearing the destination, Karim stopped his motorcycle, gazing at the flock of ostriches running towards him. A smile spread across his face. Compared to Hollywood films, Iranian cinema possesses a unique quality. While depicting harsh realities, it also showcases love, hope, and the radiance of humanity, offering a glimmer of hope in life. This film can be watched for free on Tubi, and I highly recommend watching the movie.